We are live. Hello, Facebook. Hey, Zwade.
Hello there. It's a pleasure to be with you. How are you?
I'm so glad to have you here. I'm great. How are you doing?
Can't complain, all is well. It's springtime here in Atlanta. So besides allergy season, it's fun.
That's so true. I love this time of year when the days get longer suddenly.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Dentist Side Gigs. Excited to get the chance to share your story with my group. So let's jump in. You are a physician and you have the coolest side gig. Will you share your story with us?
The coolest. Wow. I doubt that. I pretend to be a banker in my side gig, which I don't know how cool that is anymore. But I'll tell you that I am indeed a doctor. I'm a physician. I'm an anesthesiologist. And I did a fellowship in interventional spine, hence the spine in the background. So I do injections on folks that have sciatica or any kind of injury. And over the course of my own medical training, I had reason to borrow money several times. The first time was when I was in medical school and match day came around, and match day was actually last Friday for our MD counterparts. I was at Emory in Atlanta, and I matched into residency at Harvard in Boston. And after celebrating the match, I realized that I had this shortfall of about 17 grand to get from Atlanta to Boston. You know, in the Northeast, it's first last month's rent, broker fee, and the kind of moving costs. And I had to borrow the money. And when I began to explore what that looked like, I was shocked to realize that the banks and lenders viewed me as a high risk borrower, mostly because I had a ton of student loan debt, like we all do at that time in our lives. And I had a FICO score that was considered to be near prime. And my income was relatively low. You know, it was $54,000 a year, which is $13.12 an hour when you think about how hard we work in at that time. So we create a solution that's now my side gig, right? To your point, where we lend money to doctors, to MDs and DMDs and DDSs for any personal reason, not just the folks that are transitioning, but for practice startups, for inventory management, for debt consolidation is the big one. So we're happy to be doctors doing side gigs.
I love it. And so you guys always, is this your official tagline, or am I just hearing this and making it up? But it's like lending for doctors by doctors. Is it something along those lines?
It is absolutely correct. You're spot on.
Not exactly. All right.
Yeah. We say by doctors for doctors, or for doctors by doctors, mostly because we have an investor base of physicians, right? So over the course of the past 3 years, we raised north of $10 million from doctors who understand the pain point and can relate to it. And so they view this as a chance for them to give back. Though we're not a nonprofit, certainly the company makes money, but our investor base are physicians, and they're thrilled to be able to serve the servants in this capacity and make it easier for folks to access money in a way that's more thoughtful. Like we care about how many years you have left in training if you're still training, or how recently you graduated, and you know exactly where you practice in your dental field and what kind of practice you have. And it's still a personal loan. There's no collateral, so we're not holding your equipment, or there's no lien on your business, but we're banking on the fact that you are a practicing dentist and will repay the loan as long as you remain in practice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when you went and tried to get this loan, and so how long did it take you to get, like, were you able to get it? How did you sort that out?
Yeah, so I got it eventually, and my interest rate was in the 20% range. And it felt unfair. Now, what the banks see when they see someone like us at that time in our lives is someone who's got a poor or low ability to repay reliably, that we're going to be delinquent, we're going to have issues making payments because of how little income we have at that time and how much debt we have as well. What they don't compute that we can is the fact that that's a transient moment in time within our career arc. And, they're meeting us right at the beginning of that kind of financial journey. That's the first time we start to earn money at that transition point for us. But you count 3, 4, 5 years after that point. It's like being drafted right into a pro sports league. Not quite the ceiling, but certainly it's triple, quadruple what we make at the time that we met the banks. So we give each other credit for that future income, so to speak, to get rates that are a lot more competitive and at terms that feel fair, right? Like we say, no prepayment penalties, meaning as your financial circumstance changes, you have the ability to pay our loan off faster, and we don't charge you any fees for the interest that we lose by doing so. And over the course of the last 3 years, I'll tell you that our peers, it's resonating with them. We've had 3x year-over-year growth. We're deploying tens of millions of dollars a year to our doctor counterparts in this lending program.
Amazing. And what I'm getting from this is that, when you go to a bank and you want a loan, it's really all about the numbers, but you guys are factoring in the people. It's about people too.
It's all about people for us. And we've got a MD and a doctor concierge team that talks to our incoming members, the ones who apply for loans. And we're all doctors too, right? So it takes time to get on these calls, but the calls are the fun part of the work because you hear the stories, And if I think of the dentists that are borrowed from us, it's not what you'd expect. Like one of them had a sick kid, a sick child. Imagine a doctor having to borrow money to care for their sick child. That dentist was I probably shouldn't say the state because that probably violates some privacy bits, but pediatric dentist in training at the time. Kid had a lymphoma that required treatment up in Minnesota, and based on the healthcare system today, it drained their finances, and so they need to get some bit of a floater to keep them kind of up above water while they were still in training, the dentist and his wife. But we've had others who borrowed for the equity injection for their practice loan. So they're getting a larger loan for just about $500,000 and need to come up with another 75 to 100,000 bucks that we help them obtain. We do no hard credit pulls. It's all a soft inquiry, so it doesn't adversely impact their credit profile. And dentists love it.
Amazing. So if I need a loan from you, it won't affect my credit score.
It will not. No, it is not to look.
That's really cool. So what are those are some really interesting examples. And you mentioned that pediatric dentist was in training in their residency, I assume.
That's correct. Yes.
Do you see what, like when it comes to dentists or doctors, do you see them of all ages, all stages in their careers wanting to take out loans?
Yeah, so it's almost exactly 50-50. It's 47% being established doctors and 53 being the ones in training, right? But the deployment of capital, because we allow the ones that are established out of school to borrow up to $100,000, it's more 73% of the loans we give out go to established doctors, and 23 goes to 27 go to in training docs.
Got it. Okay. So, I know I'm always looking for side gig things. And by the way, one of the things I think is so cool about your business is that you've brought other doctors along into the business where they're creating side gig income as being your what's the word when they investors, right?
Yeah, they're investors.
So how
they're
cool
really investors.
Yeah, you're also providing that side for people who want to invest in a side business. So that's where I'm thinking. But as far as the actual service and the lending goes, let's say someone wanted to use it to start a side gig. What kind of scenario would that be a good idea to do?
Sure. So we see this quite often where a dentist has the practice, they're working in dentistry, and they had the idea that they want to acquire investment properties, for instance, and they have $150,000 in liquid capital, and they want to get a good rate for that investment property. They need to have a total of $250,000, and they get a larger loan for that duplex or whatever they're buying. They'll come to us. It's a 3-minute application online that does not get very intrusive at all. We don't care about all the assets that you have. We want to know first and foremost that you are indeed a dentist, that you do have a paycheck coming in as a dentist, and we ask for your provider ID number so we can make sure that you are in good standing. That and a few other items will then get us a conditional approval within 5 minutes. And then we verify income over the course of the next 24 hours and can deploy up to $100,000 for that use case by the following week, within 4 to 5 business days. And so the kind of dental community that's looking to do something else besides clinical practice, and whether it be, you know, the food truck or it's expansion of their practice and opening up a second location, and they need some liquidity for that. We don't really ask why. The why doesn't matter, because this is a personal loan that's for any legal use case. I have to say legal. It can't be for a marijuana farm. If the side gig is a marijuana farm, that becomes challenging for us, although it's legal in many states, but federally it's not.
Mhm.
But we'll certainly be able to fund any kind of professional endeavor in a matter of days, not weeks. And the difference between our lending product and like a business loan is that we don't need to see a pro forma, a business plan, the cash financials. This is purely based off of the strength of you being in the practice of medicine, and that's what we care about as doctors.
Got it. So it's not an optional, or it's not a good idea or viable for someone who has already, quit their jobs and wants to start a side gig and get a loan for that. You have to be
Actively
employed.
employed. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And unfortunately, we've seen a couple of those cases where someone's already left their clinical practice. They're looking to start something new, a research. They've got a patent that they think will hit it big, but no revenue being generated at the time. That's unfortunately ineligible from our program.
Yeah.
And then we'll also tell folks when, like, look, there's some times when there are better products for what their need is. Like, you don't use our loan to buy a car, right? A car loan is significantly much more, much cheaper than a personal loan. You don't use our loan to do things like do home renovations if you have equity in your home and you get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. That's a better use of funds than getting a personal loan. And so our goal is to help to educate our peers on how the financial systems work. There's a whole lot of misinformation out there, and the fact that we're never trained in dental school and medical school around these kinds of topics, that we come out oftentimes uninitiated with very little idea of what's up and what's down. There are a lot of predatory lenders out there to take advantage of us because we don't know. We're really good at one thing, but not so good at this thing. And we don't have the time to shop around and really do a lot of due diligence because we're busy by nature. And so a part of what we're doing is educating our peers on exactly how to view capital, when to use it, when to avoid it, and always with the goal to get out of debt whenever you can, and become financially independent also.
I love that. Yeah, that's such an important part of it. And that's what's cool about meeting you guys. Our friend Paul Goodman introduced us, and that
Love
was
Paul.
a great introduction. And when you're teaching people to really understand what they're getting into, it's so much better than just doing something where it's like someone might make the wrong choice for themselves. So we want everyone to make their own decisions. And I love that you guys provide that side of it as well. So I do have one question that just popped in. My friend Carrie, who's a hygienist, popped on. And what about hygienists? I mean, hygienists make great income. It doesn't have to be a certain title, right? Like they could
Yeah.
be eligible as well, right?
Carrie, you're on our product pipeline. You're not quite there yet. We do want to expand to hygienists in the immediate future, but right now it's DMDs and DDSs.
Got
So
it.
they have to be dentists today. But hygienists, anesthetists are on our pipeline as well, nurse anesthetists, nurse practitioners also. But certainly the hygienists and the anesthetists are two populations that we're going to be including in the very near future. But today it's just for the doctors.
Okay, that's good to know. And it's cool that you guys are expanding because, um, you know, hygienists are so entrepreneurial as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to have two more questions for you, Zwade. My first one is, so I'm someone who would always I think that was courageous and maybe it was just out of complete need that you took a loan out when you just had all those other loans. So, I would be afraid to take a loan out. What would you say to someone who may have grown up thinking that you shouldn't take loans out, and like how can I get my head around this? Like, how could this benefit me? How do I make the decisions? What would you say to someone who's not sure of the best use of this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Laura. I think that is something that we should really contemplate with the same level of kind of thoughtfulness and fervor as we do in our careers, right? Like, you plan for that root canal or for that visit that you're going to have. You should be planning around debt as well. We as lenders don't take debt lightly, and there's some times when you shouldn't do it. I think that we may, as a group, skew a little bit more towards being overly conservative about using capital, because if the alternative to getting the loan is doing things like swiping a credit card, which we do often, that's a bad use of debt. Credit card debt, revolving debt hurts your FICO score. It drags down your ability to access better, cheaper capital in future. The APR and the fine print of that credit card is oftentimes high 20%, 30% even right now with this kind of interest rate environment. If the alternative to getting a loan is liquidating your 401k, borrowing against your stocks, also bad use cases, because you're oftentimes taking a tax penalty and selling stock at a time when it may not be good for you to sell it, whereas holding would be better. So getting a loan that doesn't trap you into keeping that loan into perpetuity, but allowing you to pay it off at a time when you have the liquidity to do so, is certainly a good thing. And then you'll hear of leverage. Leverage is something that you hear bankers use all the time, where it's better to use other people's money than your own. It depends on that cost of capital though, right? So if the use of the funds outweighs the marginal interest rate on the loan, you most certainly should get the loan instead. And so when in the consultation with their team, our concierge, our doctors will talk to you about the use case. We've seen this so many times. We have over 2,000 borrowers. We can say, like, this is not a good use of funds. Really reconsider this, or maybe wait another 3 to 6 months when the timing is better for your personal scenario to borrow this money.
That's great. That's really helpful. And that is why when we met, we thought it was a great partnership for us to partner up so we can share this product that you have with my group, and because there's so many doors we can open. And I'm just excited to have you be a part of this and share this with my group. And it's really great. So is there anything, well, we will put the link in the comments of how people can reach out to you. I'll do that. And is there anything you want to leave us with? Anything you want to share or let people know? Or
We're a huge fan of yours. We love your community. We feel ourselves as partners to you guys. And so know that when you contact us, we're dealing with real doctors, not with bankers pretending to be doctors. So we know your career arc. We know the journey. We know that many of you are embarrassed that you need to borrow money and may feel a sense of shame or failure from it. And we can talk you through why that's not the case, why we understand what's underpinning that need for accessing the capital. So call us, email, apply. It doesn't hurt to apply, to take a look at what the rates are. And we're happy to kind of be your shepherd through the process to helping you understand if it's a good use of funds or not. And we'll treat you well.
That's what we're all about, right? Is people, relationships, treating people well, getting rid of the shame. That's a big thing that I do in here, right? It's like there's no shame in a lot of these things.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was so great. Thank you for being here with all of us and for sharing your story and what you do and how you can help people. So I will put your contact info in the comments. And I just want to welcome everybody to reach out to me or Zwade if you want to connect with them and ask any questions. And it's all about creating options.
I love the way you said my name. Like, yeah, yes, please reach out. That was well said.
Thank you. I'm so glad because it's really important to me to say people's names right. It's like a thing for me.
You said it better than I say it.
I'll teach you if you want. We can. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, just looking forward to helping people access more freedom.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Zwade. And everybody be sure to reach out and we will get you connected. So now I have to figure out how to turn off. Oh, I can't figure out how to, I can never figure out how to turn off the Facebook Live. So I end up just sitting here doing what I'm doing now. Let me see. Let me see if I can, there it is. Okay, bye everybody, thanks.
Maybe part of your brand at this point. Look, she's not gonna turn it off.
Be real, right?